Today, we are focused on a common conundrum. What do we need to do to wake up feeling rested and pain free? Well, we are so excited to have with us today Dr. Thomas Wynn. He's the interventional pain specialist at VSI, and he's going to share some insight on the connection between sleep and good health. Also, I want to note if you're interested in joining us on YouTube, you will find the link to our video conversation airing on YouTube in the show notes. Dr. Wynn, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk about this issue. I'm really amazed at how often you and other doctors are asked about this topic by your patients. We know that sleep is the key to better health. Are you surprised that you get this question so often?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, majority, at least 50% of the population have issues with sleep and insomnia. So that's a big player in, the common complaints of fatigue and depression and anxiety is because of the role that good sleep plays in your general overall health. So it's very common.
And this is the focus of your own New Year's resolution this year. Tell me why you chose this as your resolution. Obviously, you're not getting enough sleep yourself, and maybe the small tweaks that you have made to kind of create impactful changes.
Right.
So, what prompted all
So
this?
what prompted all this is, you're right. My difficulties with getting to sleep, as in my early 20s and 30s through med school and residency, I didn't bother to worry about sleep. I had all the energy in the world. I could go on 2 to 3 hours of sleep and be fine the next day, and even take call and play golf the next day. But in the last, 5 to 10 years, I'm finding that it's more difficult for me to get to sleep and then remain asleep and then feel refreshed after a long night's sleep. So that kind of stirred my interest into looking further on into what's going on here. Is it part of life, or is there anything I can do to kind of improve on this to feel better when I get up in the morning? And so that's
Mhm.
how this New Year's resolution started.
And so, what have you done for yourself?
Well, I started a plan. Obviously, did a lot of research into what it takes and the science behind all the sleep architecture, and I've developed a plan. With when I need to get up, my circadian rhythm, my sleep hygiene, my habits during the day to kind of really set a nice runway into getting into bed and sleeping.
Is it working for you?
I would say right now I'm getting about 80-85% effectiveness.
Okay.
There are nights that I stay up late just to watch a show, or I have I'm in a tennis league where we finish at 10 o'clock, and that really throws off the circadian rhythm and the time that I need to get to bed. So those nights
Yeah.
it throws it off. I can't get to sleep, and the next day I'm really, really sluggish. So I got to figure out
Yeah.
how to work around that versus just stop
Yeah.
playing tennis so late.
And we hear people joke, "Oh, I'll sleep when I die," or, "I've got to work late, so I'm going to get some sleep. I'll catch up later." But studies show that's really changing, that people are understanding that they need to prioritize sleep and do so on purpose. Are you seeing a direct correlation between proper sleep, and improved health in your patients?
Oh, definitely. That's probably the second question I ask when patients are saying, I'm hurting more, or I don't have the energy, or I'm really tired all the time, or my mood changes and I'm feeling really depressed. That's usually what's happening. And then the second question is, how are you sleeping? Because that definitely affects all those components that I just mentioned. The amount of pain you have, your mood, your anxiety, your energy level, and your immunity status. So it has a direct effect, and it's well based in science and research.
hmm Okay, so you talked about with your own resolution and trying to figure out a plan to get your sleep on track. You talked about making a plan. So let's talk about the steps that people can take to improve their own sleep. And it starts with making a plan. What does that mean?
So making a plan, really, so you have a circadian rhythm with sleep. You have to try to go to bed the same time every night and wake up the same time every night. So I
Hmm.
decided, what time do I need to get up to go to the gym and then go to work? And that's a set time for me. It's 5:30, and from then I start my setting my clock to wake me up at that time. Eventually, I won't need a clock anymore because my circadian rhythm will kick in, and I will just wake up naturally at that time. But once you're
Hmm.
awake, you want to get out and get some sunshine because that really kicks in the circadian clock and rhythm. Okay, the sunlight.
So seeing the sun through your eyes will trigger that circadian rhythm and more of a schedule in
Yes,
your body.
100%, and it also stimulates a little bit of a cortisol and adrenaline bump, which gives you the energy, to get up and do things in the morning. So you really don't need that first cup of coffee right away if you're getting good sleep. And
Okay.
then for the rest of the day, you're going to be mindful of what you eat and what you drink, and especially when it's late in the afternoon, in the evening, you're going to have to try to avoid the stimulating drinks, such as anything with caffeine in it. So you're trying to avoid 6 to 8 hours before your bedtime, what your set bedtime, what you think it's going to be. Um,
Mm.
avoiding that kind of drink and caffeine, and then avoiding exercise and large meals 2 or 3 hours before the set bedtime. So what is the set
Hmm.
bedtime? I go in the reverse, and so if I'm waking up at 5:30, I count backwards. About 8 hours is what they recommend, and that's my ideal time to get in bed and try to go to sleep. So that's my target. That's the time I'm going to get into bed and use my sleep hygiene techniques and hopefully fall asleep within 15 to 20 minutes of that time.
So basically, if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, you want to stop drinking coffee by 2.
Right. Right.
And then avoiding bright lights too. I mean, you talk about needing that sun to kind of wake you up, going through your eyes. Your eyes really play a big role in setting that circadian clock. But alternatively, by contrast, at night,
Yes.
you need to avoid the bright
Yes.
lights, right?
Avoiding bright lights, avoiding fluorescent lights, avoiding the blue lights coming from your devices, your laptop and your phone. Those things, keep you from falling asleep and actually keep you awake more often than not.
Okay, so I have a question. Does the blue light filter in the glasses actually protect you from the bright lights at night?
All the you know gurus of sleep saying that it does help some, but ideally you just want to turn it off. If you're that
Okay.
addicted to your device, you can use the blue light filters, but the ultimate recommendation is just got to turn it off and leave it off,
Okay, if you could talk to my kids about that, I'd appreciate
right? Like,
it.
again, they're younger, so they have a little time to take advantage of their super energy and not worry about their sleep architecture as we all do at this time.
Yeah. Well, I'm all about building healthy habits, and so I'm
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
cracking the whip around here. Let's talk about medication because if you're like me, sometimes I take a little melatonin before I go to bed. I've actually had a doctor tell me that to take children's Benadryl. What do you think about taking medication for sleep health?
right. So if you're doing everything else, quieting down, you're avoiding all the stimulating activities and drinks and everything, and you're just not getting to bed, you can use, supplements. Is what I would recommend. A lot of medications, alcohol or Benadryl, um, get you to sleep, so you're feeling that you got to sleep okay. But the problem is some of these medications prevent you from getting into the deeper stages of sleep, which is the stages that provide significant health benefits. So while you're sleeping, a good 8 hours with the Benadryl, with alcohol, or with other medications, it's not always ideal. So you want to use a supplement. As melatonin is okay. When we're younger, we produce enough melatonin to be able to go to sleep fine. And as we get older, the production of melatonin decreases. So maybe every once in a while, give yourself a boost of 1 to 5 milligrams of melatonin. I wouldn't use it all the
Okay.
time. Then you get dependent on it and you wouldn't be able to go to sleep. The other supplement
Hmm.
would be magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate is the ones that cross the blood-brain barrier, and they have a little bit sedative property to help you fall asleep and they also, you know, work on relaxing your muscles if you're tense, and help you with stay asleep.
I do take magnesium 3 and 8 before I go to bed. What do you recommend as a dosage?
Um, every maker has a different dose on there. I usually go with what's recommended on the bottle
Okay.
is it's what's appropriate. Yeah.
Okay. And you talk about that, you wanna get into that deep sleep. It's really, quality and quantity,
Right.
right?
Right. If I were to choose between the two, quality is much, more important than quantity. Again, there are, 5 stages of sleep, and you get the benefits, you get the recovery, you get, the brain, and getting rid of all the toxins in the brain in stage 4 and recovery. And then, stage 5 is your REM sleep, where you're dreaming, and that's where the brain works on creating, taking the short-term memory and transitioning it to long-term memory. So those are the
Mhm.
important stages. So you want to
Okay.
get to those stages, and if you can get to those, it doesn't matter how long. You can be asleep 8 hours and be in stage 1, stage 2, because you have to get up, or the medications you take, or back noise from the neighbor or anything like that. You won't feel refreshed in the morning. So quality is
Mhm.
more important than quantity.
That's a good point. All right, let's talk about that, on purpose kind of sleep and setting up your plan and all that. Let's get a little bit deeper into that and talk about hygiene. You said architecture before. What are the elements involved in good sleep architecture, good sleep hygiene?
So sleep hygiene, involves a lot of preparation for bedtime itself, right? So you are going to, again, do all the avoiding, large meals and exercise late in the evening. About an hour before your set bedtime, you want to kind of use that time to kind of, you know, decompress and chill, whether it's, reading a book or listening to quiet music or taking a nice hot bath. That kind of gets you into the mood to be able to get yourself off to sleep, and your heart rate is slowed, and so that's what you want to do the hour before. In the environment, you want to cool the room down to a nice cooler temperature, because studies have shown that you actually get better sleep in cooler temperatures. So between 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature they recommend. You want to keep the room nice and dark. I recommend maybe using a motion detector night light. So for if you need to get up in the middle of the night, there's something that will light up so you won't fall, but it's not going to be on all night long, because ambient light can interfere with your sleep.
Mhm.
Obviously quiet, no TVs on, no radios on. Some people do need a little bit of ambient sound or background noise, and so a low fan on the ground, or a little bit of a background noise with some apps on your phone would be okay. Um,
Mhm.
there's controversy of the part of hydration or not. So you want to hydrate early on in the evening, right? So that you get good hydration, but you're emptying the bladder adequately. If you get it too late, like around bedtime, and you're drinking several glasses of water, well, you're going to be getting up in the middle of the night, which kind of interferes with that ability to
Right.
get into the deep stages. So it's you don't want to drink 2 glasses right before you jump into bed, but you want to get
Yeah.
your hydration around dinner time, so that you're well hydrated. Plus, you are able to empty the bladder and get everything set.
I mean, when you think about it, sleep is very complex.
It is. It
Um,
is. That's why this is a whole process. It's not just, oh well, here I'm going to turn the light off. I'm going to do this and this and this. It's a whole process, and there's every
yeah.
bit of science behind all the recommendations.
There's no just laying down and going to sleep. Let's talk about something that's also complex, and that's mattresses and pillows. And it's a question I know you get a lot. As a, I know finding the right one is like a whole scientific project on your own. What do you recommend as the right mattress and pillow?
So for the mattress, obviously, people have the same mattress until for most of their lives, and they should know that you have to, mattresses do wear. You do have you have to kind of change them out, or rotate them, or turn them up, on their on flip them, if you will, to eliminate all the dents. But a nice firm mattress is what I recommend for my patients with back pain. And obviously,
Hmm.
I have a little pillow top on top, so that kind of keeps everything softer to hit all the curves when you're lying on your back and your side. The addition of pillows is a great idea between your legs or under your knees, depending if you're sleeping on your side and your back, and that helps kind of take the stress off the hips and the nerves in the back when you're in certain
Hmm.
sleep positions. As far as the pillow, it has to be a nice, firm pillow, but it's the size of the pillow, because you want to keep your cervical spine relatively neutral. So a pillow that's too big is going to kink your neck one way, and a pillow that's too soft is going to kink it the other way. So you want it just perfect for your size, your shoulders, and your neck. So you have to.
And then how often should those be replaced?
Um, they should be replaced as soon as they're not giving you the fit that you have. So probably
Okay.
I would say every 2 years is a good amount of time to replace them. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. And the same with a mattress, or you can go a
You can
little
go
bit
a little
longer
bit
with a
longer with
mattress?
mattresses.
Okay.
You can go. I recommend the studies, and I'm thinking about 4 to 5 years is when you should consider, getting a new mattress.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then how much sleep do we actually need? I've heard a lot of different numbers on that, 6 to 8, but like certain people only get 5. I mean, what do we need? And I know it's probably listening to your body, but it helps to hear from a
Yeah.
doctor on
So I
some
think
guidance.
it's weird, because I think it doesn't depend on your gender, but more so your age. So
Mm,
if the extremes, when you're really young and you're really old, you need more sleep because you need more recovery time. As you're trying to develop, as an infant, you're trying to everything is developing with your brain and your organs, and they need more time to recover and grow. And in stages like stage 4, that's when your body releases human growth hormone, and the longer you're in that stage, that's the longer amount of recovery you get. So in the elderly population, you need more recovery with the arthritis and muscle pains, and so you need a little bit
mhm,
more sleep there. In your early, teens and 20s and 30s, you probably don't need as much, because your body does it's pretty good at recovering. But then, you get middle age to a little bit older, then you need more. So I don't have an exact number. I would say between, again, at 6 to 8. I do fine at 6 to 7.
mhm.
And that it really is, how you feel when you open your eyes in the morning. I can tell usually, because I'm the one who's waking up before my alarm and turning it off, and I know that that's a good night's sleep for me. And yeah.
Good. Yeah. And do you have any issues with napping?
Napping is a good idea, but you want to try to keep it under 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. So power
Okay.
naps are great. They kind of reset everything and give your body some time to recover. But too long of a nap will interfere with your ability to get to sleep at night.
Okay. So if we're failing at all of this and really not doing those, setting things up on purpose, what is the result of lack of sleep when we talk about overall health? Like what does not enough sleep do to us?
Not enough sleep increases your blood pressure. It interferes with your mood. People who are sleep deprived are anxious. They're depressed. They have difficulty with, cognitive abilities. They're not as sharp or focused. It certainly increases your weight, especially fat buildup, because when you're not sleeping a lot, your body has to release a lot of cortisol and insulin, and that kind of helps produce fat in your body, and it
Mhm.
doesn't digest well, and so that's weight gain, and also um, shift work. They've studied people who do shift work, and the lack of regular sleep or a good circadian rhythm leads to increased risk of heart disease, and even for long-term Alzheimer's.
Yeah. And I know as a pain specialist, being tired makes you also more sensitive to pain. I would assume that you see that a
Yeah,
lot.
I do, and again, that's a common question is when patients are coming in with more pain, "What did you do? Did you have an accident? Did you have a fall? And then, how did you sleep? How have you been sleeping?" So
Mhm.
yes, I mean, they've done studies where they took healthy college students and they introduced them to really, really cold water to see what their cold tolerance is. And one group would be a group that slept, a full 8 hours, and the other group would get only a couple hours of sleep. And certainly the group that had a good night's sleep was able to tolerate the cold a lot longer than the group that didn't. So, lack of sleep promotes more inflammation in your body and also decreases
Mm.
your sensitivity to tolerating, pain.
Interesting. So the inflammation, is that related to the cortisol, a higher level of
The
cortisol?
higher level of cortisol and the inability to, have the growth to get into stage 4 where the growth factor, human growth factor is released to kind of address all the inflammation and aid with recovery.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about your three biggest takeaways. So this is kind of easy for everybody to just to understand, and so that they have kind of a call to action here. And the first one you've said is listen to your body, right?
Yeah, yes, very much so. Listen to your body, and don't ignore it. Don't what I say is don't sleep on sleep. Right. So it's been a long time that people just ignore sleep, but with the studies, we know that sleep is the foundation of good health. Right. You have diet, exercise, and sleep. But if you don't get good sleep, the other two pillars don't really matter as much. So you have to focus on sleep. Number two
Yeah.
is you have to be intentional in trying to get good sleep and good sleep architecture. You have to develop a plan. As you've seen what I've described, it's a all day event, and thinking about preparing for sleep, right? Getting up, getting
Mhm.
sun, avoiding caffeine, then dinner time, and then your sleep hygiene. So it's a you have to stay on top of it. If you're you know lapse and have late coffee with dinner, then you've kind of messed up for that day. So you have to be cognizant.
Mhm.
It has to be an intentional plan. And third, I think third would be, you know, sleep is the closest thing we have to the fountain of youth because it helps us
Mm. Mm.
recover. It helps build muscle. It helps the brain, function better. So why ignore something like that? I mean, everyone's looking for the fountain of youth. Why not when you have it right there, focus on it?
I love it. Okay, so listen to your body, be intentional about your sleep, and sleep is the fountain of
Yes.
youth. I'm going to go take a nap. I love it. I really appreciate it, and I know that if people struggle from chronic pain, that you are there to help. VSI is a very collaborative and great clinic for people to come and get the help that they need, whether it's back pain or chronic pain,
Right.
which you see a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so follow VSI on social media at VSI Spine and Dr. Thomas Wynn, interventional pain specialist at VSI. Thank you so much for your insight. It's an important topic and something that we can all relate to.
Thanks, Laura.